Welcome back to the wood lathe, everybody. So glad you could be with me here today. So, the last time, or the first time I posted roughing out the bowl, I didn't do any narration because I wanted to keep it short and I wanted to be safe. This time around, we're going to go step by step. This is not a how-to, okay? This is not a tutorial. This is how I do it. Now, all you YouTube safety police out there, you have fun with it. I do the best I can. So, the last time I had a blank that was square. This time, I took the chainsaw and I knocked the corners off. All right? Drill a hole in the center, which is for the screw chuck. Okay? So, how I do it is the way I do it. I turn the lathe on its lowest speed. It's at 132 RPM. I lift the blank up. I center the hole. I get it started on the hole. And then I'm done. It's on. All right. I stop at this point and I check to make sure it's on properly and tight. Now, as you can see, it's slightly off balance. It's heavy on the bottom. At this point, I have a choice to make. I can just go ahead and turn it like I did in the first video, but to keep the safety police happy, we're going to do it a different way. We're going to bring the tailstock up, put a live center in it, and bring that up to the bowl blank, lock the tailstock down, and crank that in good and tight. All right, that should make some of the safety police a little happier. Now, I bring the tool rest up just slightly below center until it's right near the bark. Okay? And I start the lathe. What I'm using is a bowl gouge. It's a deep fluted gouge, heavy stemmed gouge. This is a 1/2 inch. So now I'll raise the speed until I start getting some sort of vibration. Right there. Most of what you'll be turning is air. The rest is nasty bark. And you just gotta be careful. So you start in, find the bark, and you take a very light pass. Then you do another. And you keep going. Just stop it here for a second, show you what's happening. What's happening is we're taking the bark off, and now we're hitting solid wood. We won't hit anything here or here for quite a while. At this point, you move the tool rest closer. You want to stay close. Not too close, just close. Now, because you have to take more wood off this side than the middle, you can concentrate a few passes out here. This is not for people who don't have, well, let's put it this way. This is not for people who have a whole brain. You kind of need to be a little squirrely to do this. mind you, the lathe I'm using is a STRATOS XL, and it weighs 705 pounds naked. Put the chuck on, and it weighs a little more. You don't count the weight of the bowl because that's spinning and it could be off balance, so it's a good heavy lathe. You can do this. You don't do this with some Harbor Freight $100 lathe. I'd like to point out that normally I don't stand with the shavings coming at me. I usually stand with my back to the camera and go this way. It throws the shavings away from me. I get a much better cut. See how fast that goes? Once you get rocking and rolling, it goes fast. And you need to check that this is still tight. See if we can get a little more RPM out of it. It's a lot of start and stop because you don't want your cutting gouge, your turning gouge to overextend the tool rest. You can catch, break the tool rest, and injure yourself. Safety. You take calculated risks, not uncalculated risks. Because it happens. Accidents happen in a flash. And I don't want to be on that list of guys who is one of them. The further you get out towards the outside of the bowl, the more RPM, the more feet per minute. It's the same RPM, but the more feet per minute. And so it's traveling faster out here, and these corners can catch at a higher speed. So you go a little lighter here. I'm going to change the cut to a rubbing cut. And when those shavings are coming at your hand and you've got bark, they hurt. They sting. So some guys wear gloves. I've never gotten used to wearing gloves on the lathe. I just don't. Get a little more RPM. Okay, we've got a flat, flat, bark, flat, flat, bark. So we still got a lot more to go. Let's clean that outer edge up. Little bark, flat, bark. We're getting there, real close now. That should be it for the outer edge. So now we go back to the beginning, take a few more passes, and then it's time to take the tailstock off. Alright, we're good and balanced now. Slide the tailstock out of the way, and then you take the actual center out so you don't bump into that with your elbow. So as you can see, we just have to get rid of this bark and this bark. You can do either a pull cut or a push cut on the base. It's good to practice both. It doesn't have to be real smooth on the base because nobody will ever see that's going to come off in the future. This is the dimension I want, and look at that. That's where we want to be. Now we set a tenon, T-E-N-O-N. What that will do is give me something to put the chuck onto when we turn it around. And that's just about it for that. I like to take the corner off because sharp corners will dry faster and could cause splitting. So now I have some choices to make. Because I still have a lot of bark, I'm going to do a couple pull cuts. A little bit more, and then we'll switch to a push. And this wood is wet. This is from the log, as you can see. I don't know if you can see if the light's going to help. But my hands are wet and the steel makes these stains. Alright, so let's clean this up. bark, the tool is now pretty much dull. It'll still cut. But what I'll do is when we're done here, I'll resharpen and take one more cleaning pass like this. I mean, it is a rough out, and will get returned again after it's dry, but I still like them to be the shape I want and smooth. Yeah, this is dull. It's not cutting anymore. You can tell when it starts bouncing, it's just not, you see that? It should be cutting more like this. Not bouncing all over the place. So that's about it, everybody, for the bottom side of the bowl. Next will be, when I make that final cut, this little bit of bark, the inside of the bark will be gone, and this will be nice and smooth in the shape I want. But that's about it. Next time round, I'll take it off the lathe, and we'll put a special chuck up there and a tool that I use to take the center out. I'll show two ways. I'll show taking the center out just as shavings, and then I'll show taking it out as a solid block of wood. Thanks for stopping by. If you liked the video, give it the old thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. Walter out.